Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thanks to all of the witnesses for being here. I want to visit with you, Ms. Minsky, but before I do, I just want to clear one thing up. Professor Bridges, you said several times, you've used a phrase, I want to make sure I understand what you mean by it. You referred to people with a capacity for pregnancy. Would that be women?
Many women, cis women, have the capacity for pregnancy. Many cis women do not have the capacity for pregnancy. There are also trans men who are capable of pregnancy, as well as non-binary people who are capable of pregnancy.
So this isn't really a women's rights issue.
We can
it's what?
recognize that this impacts women while also recognizing that it impacts other groups. Those things are not mutually exclusive, Senator Hawley.
Oh, so your view is that the core of this right then is about what?
So I want to recognize that your line of questioning is transphobic, and it opens up trans people to violence by not recognizing that.
Wow, you're saying that I'm opening up people to violence by asking whether or not women are the folks who can have pregnancies?
So I want to note that 1 out of 5.
Yeah, that's what she's saying. Yeah, that's ad hominem right off the bat here, right? She attacks Senator Hawley right off the bat. You can't have a discussion about this. And if you have a discussion about this, then you're transphobic. Well, my question is, do you believe in science? Do you believe in equality? Well, do you believe in common sense? Then buckle up, because today,
5 transgender persons have attempted suicide.
yeah, buckle up, because today's discussion is going to blow your mind. We're tackling a debate so heated, even your Aunt Karen's Facebook feed couldn't keep up. Oh, what does it mean to have capacity for pregnancy? And are pregnancy centers really fake clinics? Let's dive in. Welcome to the Revo Review. I'm Vince Revo.
So I think it's important
Because of my line of questioning? So
because
we can't talk about it?
because denying that trans people exist and pretending not to know that they exist.
I'm
is
denying that trans
dangerous.
people exist by
Are
asking
you?
you if you're
Are
talking
you?
about women
Are you?
having pregnancies.
Do you believe that men can get pregnant?
No, I don't think we can
So
get
you're
pregnant.
denying that trans people exist?
And that leads to violence. Is this how you run your classroom? Are students allowed to question you, or are they also treated like this, where
No, no, no.
they're
They're
told
allowed
that
to
they're
question.
opening up people to
Oh,
violence
we have a good
by
time in my
questioning?
class. You should
I
join.
bet.
You might learn a lot.
Wow, I would learn a lot. I've learned a lot.
I
This
know.
is Jenny.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Extraordinary.
Yep.
Wow, it's language gymnastics, right? This is what we're witnessing here. In this exchange, people with the capacity for pregnancy. And this is why Senator Hawley's like, what are you talking about? Talking about women, right? Because saying women apparently is outdated now. Where women that's yesterday, right? We don't say women. Well, according to this law professor, this very woke professor, this phrase encompasses not just women, but trans men and non-binary individuals. So call us old-fashioned. I guess we're old-fashioned. But when did basic biology become so controversial? Basic biology incites violence now all of a sudden. Because last I checked, pregnancy isn't some metaphysical, philosophical concept. It's a biological reality. But no, if you so much ask a clarifying question about this, you're accused of inciting violence. Because words are now apparently weapons of mass destruction. This is free speech that's happening. So here's a thought. Maybe if your argument crumbles under a simple question, a simple, elementary school, maybe high school question, it might not be as solid as you think. Or maybe, just maybe, the problem isn't the question, the problem's the ideology that can't handle that scrutiny.
Ms. Matsky, let me ask you something. So you provide healthcare to women free of charge, right? Is that right?
Absolutely.
You've done this for many years. You have licensed medical professionals at your pregnancy care centers. Is that right?
That is correct.
And what are some of the resources that you provide for women who come to you in a time of need?
So,
Just give us you talked about your written testimony, but just give us a sense of it.
So we have 3 OBGYN doctors, 5 registered nurses, nurse practitioners, physician assistants, phlebotomists, medical assistants, and we provide prenatal care, OBGYN care. We provide pregnancy tests, ultrasounds, well woman visits, breast exams. We provide a wide range of medical services. Yes.
So what do you think about the DC politicians now saying that your clinic and the other 3,000 pregnancy care centers around this country are fake medical clinics? For instance, Senator Warren has said it's now more important than ever to crack down on so-called crisis pregnancy centers that mislead and deceive patients. Senator Menendez, crisis pregnancy centers jeopardize women's health and well being, all while elevating unproven theories about birth control. Senator Warner wrote to Google asking them to censor search results for care centers like yours, saying directing women to fake clinics that traffic in misinformation is dangerous to women's health and undermines the integrity of Google's search results. Do you run a fake clinic? I mean, is that what's happening here? You don't provide actual medical care to actual women?
We absolutely do not run a fake clinic, and we have a full medical staff.
This is exactly what the left wants to do, right? Just shut down everything that doesn't agree with them. And, when we move on to these so-called, fake clinics, it's also known as pregnancy care clinics, caring for these women, providing counseling, free medical care, support that they need. But apparently to some woke politicians, they're dangerous because they don't push abortion as the only option. So let's break this down. These clinics have licensed medical professionals, OB-GYNs, nurses, and even former abortion providers. They offer ultrasounds, prenatal care, breast exams, yet they're accused of being fake. So by that logic, should we call the DMV fake because it doesn't sell Teslas? The real issue here isn't that these clinics are fake. It's that they dare to provide women with choices that don't align with the pro-abortion woke agenda. And if you think it stops at slandering these clinics, think again. They even want Google to censor search results. Censor search results. We've already had big tech censoring the right, censoring conservatives, because nothing says trust the science like hiding information from the public, right?
Like I said, many of our medical professionals have experienced abortion for themselves, including our OBGYN doctor who used to perform abortions. So our entire medical staff is there for women, whether they choose abortion and walk out the door or whether they choose life for their baby, and we support them for years after that.
Do you think there ought to be an ideological test to be able to get medical care in this country? I mean, should we say to women, well, you have to agree with the DC Democrats' ideology, otherwise you can't go get medical care? Or maybe for you and the physicians who work at your pregnancy care center or the thousands of others across the country, should we impose an ideological test on them and say that, well, you have to agree with the DC Democrats' position on abortion and you can't provide medical care to women? Should we do that in this country?
Absolutely not.
I just want to ask in my few remaining seconds here, Miss Hawley, the Dobbs decision, as I understand it, I've read it now a number of times, it gives to voters
This ideological testing here that Senator Hawley's talking about. So yeah, should you have a litmus test? Because apparently you can only provide medical care if you agree with a certain political agenda, right? Well, imagine telling a woman in crisis, sorry, we can't help you unless you check the right ideological woke boxes. What happened to healthcare as a human right? And guess who was pushing for that? Christians were pushing for healthcare as a human right. And here's the thing. The same people who chant my body, my choice want to strip others of their choice to seek healthcare that aligns with their values. The hypocrisy in this is very rich. So there's a radical agenda here happening. And I think this is what, a lot of Trump supporters are pushing back against, this agenda to silence, this agenda against free speech, et cetera, right?
the decision as to what laws should be pertaining to life and pertaining to abortion in all 50 states and other jurisdictions around the country. I'm just curious, do you know what percentage of voters in this country support the DC Democrats' position that they want to impose on the entire country, a one-size-fits-all rule they want to impose from the top down? Do you know what percentage of voters support their position, which is also, by the way, the same position taken by North Korea, China, other notable
10%.
violators of human rights? Do you know what percent?
Less than 10%.
I know that nearly 90% of Americans oppose abortion in the third trimester. The number that would support abortion up to the moment of birth has to be minuscule. It's a horrific policy.
Yeah, I mean, based on the most recent Harvard poll that was just released just a few days ago, it less than 10% of voters say that they would support abortion into the final month of pregnancy. And yet that is the law that the DC politicians want to impose on every voter in America, to take this away from the people, take it away from my state, take it away from all the other states and the voters of the states. We impose this law uniformly that is not supported by 90% of the American people. Talk about anti-democratic. At the same time, they want to shut down 3,000 pregnancy care centers all around this country. That's radical. Thank you for being here.
That's North Korean radical, right? So
thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thanks to all.
This is
you have
wild.
license.
What's happening here. And I think that it's almost unbelievable what's happening, right? So, I mean, this brings us to the heart of the issue. What is the heart of the issue? It's choice. And the Dobbs decision to return power to the people said, hey, voters, you decide. But instead of engaging in healthy debate, some politicians want to dictate it from the top down, because apparently the only acceptable choice is their choice. And we can't talk about this. If we talk about it, somehow it's inciting violence. So let me ask you this, and let us know what you think in the comments down below. We want to hear from you, especially if you disagree with us, If your position is so righteous, so obvious, why are you afraid to let people vote on it or even speak on it? Why the need to censor, silence, and smear? Could it be because your ideas don't hold up to scrutiny? Now, this is the bottom line. This isn't just about politics or policy. It's about standing for truth, for freedom, and for the sanctity of life. It's about ensuring that every woman has real options, not just the ones someone else deems acceptable. The Bible reminds us in Proverbs 31, 8-9, speak up for those who cannot speak for themselves, for the rights of all who are destitute. Speak up and judge fairly. Defend the rights of the poor and the needy. That is that baby that cannot speak up. That is that baby in the womb that cannot speak up. Let us speak up for that baby. That's what these pregnancy care centers are doing. And that's what we're called to do as well. Stay informed, stay engaged, keep speaking up. Your voice matters more than you know. And together we can make a difference, not just in this debate, but in the lives of countless women and countless children. God bless you.